snap. It's me. It's me. It's DPD. That's right. My middle name's Paul. So Dominic, Paul, D'Angelo here on Rumor and Innuendo. Robert is off on assignment. Maybe he'll join us. We'll wait and see. But you got me to preview. What's it called? Money in the Bank. So happy to be here with everybody. And we will also talk a little Beach Break. I'll give my thoughts on that. And yeah, it's just me, man. So let's have a little fun here. Talk about some stuff, plug a little stuff, and let's get some shout outs here. Johnny Disco, happy Friday. Which Robert do we get today? Neither. Johnny, just me. Maybe I sent a couple messages out, so maybe we'll get one of the Roberts here today. But well, Jake, good morning, Rumorites. Hope everybody had a good body slam of Giant Simone on a Battleship Day. That is perfect. Jake, good stuff. Don't trust Dom. He keeps trying to stab me right in the eye with a foreign object. Heck yeah, reference to the mountain goats. Yes, and working stiff. But oops, all Doms. That's it. It's all Doms today. Solo dominant. So yeah, let's talk a little bit. Let's do a little preview, if you will. No, you know what? Let's take it one step at a time, chronologically here. We'll go a little chronologically. We will have Beach Break. We're going to preview Beach Break. Yes. So we heard from Dr. Britt Baker. And let me say, I was, really unfortunate stuff that happened to her. And a lot of stuff that we weren't aware of, obviously, when it comes to what she was dealing with, like nearing like a quote unquote, like a mini stroke, she indicated. I can't remember the name of the diagnosis she got, but it sounded pretty sad and scary, especially for her age and everything like that. You don't want to hear or see stuff like that. So little unsettling, and you kind of felt her like not feeling confident in that regard when it came to the delivery of her promo and everything like that. When she started off, it was just like, wow, this seems like a different kind of Britt Baker, and then she did. I thought what her comments about the past, the present, and the future were very insightful and like kind of motivating if you're like concerned or you worry about the future or anything like that. She put a pretty good perspective on it. Stuff too is like living in the present. If you're going through a difficult time, just know it's going to kind of get better if you keep looking forward and looking ahead to things. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then the whole tone changed when Mercedes Moné came out, and that was a pretty cool moment. It delineated Britt Baker as this really, and she got the fire back like that when it came to Mercedes. It was just like, boom, it's right there. You can feel it. And then Mercedes Moné had that heel heat, which was really, really good. So I was pretty happy with that segment and what they did. It really feels like a big deal. And like, if AEW plays it right, which they haven't been the best of, admittedly, they could make this feel like a big deal and continue that. So I like it. I thought it was good stuff. Now, overall, I did not necessarily like what they did with Jeff Jarrett, and let me dive into that for a good amount of time here. So obviously, Jeff Jarrett comes in and he is like ready to go. He's silent, giving the silent treatment to Renee. Doesn't want to deal with any pomp and circumstance. Wants to get right down to business. And the wild card is Hangman Page. Totally fine with him being the wild card, but if you're going to have him be the wild card and have him be one of the favorites here to maybe win the whole tournament, I would not have put Jeff Jarrett in that position where he cuts arguably the best promo of the year so far when it came to AEW Collision and what he said, what that Owen Hart Cup meant to him, and then you just blow it off in the first round. Really, I think just a pretty egregious mistake when it comes to tugging at the heartstrings more. I understand the fact you want to get the heat on Hangman, but maybe have that match happen in the finals. Jeff goes the distance, and whether you're planning to have him lose to Danielson or Hangman, make that on the opposite side of the bracket. I think they had a really, really great story there. And, it just seems squandered. And I will say this too, when it comes to what a great match Pac and Danielson had to open it. But, I said this on the first episode here or earlier this week. I mean, when I was talking to Robert about this, was that they need to set the table for the stakes that it involves everybody. Um, what it means for Pac, what it means for Danielson, what it means for Jeff. All those needed to be set on this program, and they did not do it. They did not. You had to have been aware of what was said on previous episodes of AEW Dynamite or AEW Collision to be aware what this tournament meant to all three of these guys. And I don't. The matches were fine. I liked Jeff Jarrett fighting from underneath and getting that babyface reaction, and Hangman really turned the crowd on its head by coming out. The fans were happy for him and excited, and then he was a heel, and he got that heel heat. So that was all fine, but a lot of the way it was all set up, I just didn't like. I think AEW should have done more with it and could have done more with it and made that feel all like a bigger deal across the board. Really not happy with what they did with Jeff Jarrett. Pretty, very cool moment for him on Collision and the build and the excitement and anticipation for it, only for him to lose in the first round. And like by a ruthless Hangman Page. Again, like I said, I get making him a big time heel and making him look ruthless and all that kind of thing. Make that happen in the finals, I think, against Jeff Jarrett, because you set up a great story there and you squandered it. That's how I feel about it. So let's see. Andrew says, now they bury Jay White again too. Same with Pac. I know, Andrew, I just said that with Pac. It just seems like, listen, he had that story where he said, I'm a bastard, but I've been feeling like a bitch because I haven't done what I'm supposed to do in the ring. And this Owen Hart Cup proves it. I want to prove it. No follow-up, no post-match interview, nothing. And for Jeff Jarrett, for you guys to feel anything for Jeff Jarrett, in fact, you would have to put him, you would have to go online. You'd have to go to social media to see his reaction. Just not a good move on down at AEW's part. I did not like it. And they should have done a better job at it. But we do have a Robert here now, guys. We do have a Robert. It is Robert DeFelice.
Yeah, you see this, everyone? I make the hot tags. I come in, I do the shows. I wasn't sure if I was doing this one, but look at that. I'm here. It's a full week of Dude on AdFreeShows.com.
Man, how about that, huh?
Dom, what exactly were you talking about when you said you didn't like that?
Beach Break, I was talking about the overall what they did. Like, I thought the matches were good, but overall how they didn't make the stakes feel high on this specific episode of Dynamite when it came to the Owen Hart Cup. You had the matches, but you did not get any. If you didn't tune into the weeks before and you didn't tune into anything or follow social media or anything like that, you had no added incentive to what these matches meant to any of these competitors. So, and I just really was expressive about how I did not like what they did with Jeff Jarrett in the opening round.
Yeah, it does suck that they couldn't come up with another way. Like, I think knowing what we know now, what I would have done is flipped the bracket for Brian and Hanger, and I would have had Hanger face Pac because they have heat dating back to the original beginnings of AEW, and you could have like touted that, oh, we're restoring the original feeling of this brand. And then I would have had Brian beat Shingo on that, or not beat Shingo. I probably would have found another way to get Shingo in there, and I would have had Brian fight Jarrett, and I think it would have been a more respectful match, you know. And I think Hanger's new presentation is strong, but I think that this Jeff Jarrett, having been emotional about, you know, that whole time in his life with Owen Hart, I think I would have found a better way than to just feed him to Hanger.
Yeah, it's just like you show a captivating promo like Jeff Jarrett did on Collision, and then So you get fans invested into it. I was invested into it. I like completely did not spoil it for myself because I tuned into Dynamite the next day, and on July 4th I was watching it that morning, and so I did not know the results. I did hear Hangman came back, so I knew he was the wild card, but I was like, what's going to happen here? And sure enough, like it was just a definitive loss, and it just feels like a squandered thing. Make it mean something. Make him go to the finals and lose in the finals against a Hangman or a Danielson or something like that, where it's like, okay, we went along for that ride. That made a lot of sense. Jeff went that far. He just didn't make it that much. But here, you make him lose in the first round. It just seems like an egregious and squandered mistake, I think, on AEW's part. So
maybe they ultimately feel like as long as they got Jeff to do the promo and you tell that story, like they didn't need him to go super far at the risk of turning off their hardcore fan base, which is, probably would have blew a gasket if Jeff Jarrett had somehow made it to the finals of a tournament for a world title shot in 2024.
Yeah, I'm all for that though. I want Jeff to win.
I mean, I would have loved for Jeff to have won, but it's like I think Tony's in this weird position of like trying to please everyone, and I don't think he's gotten it yet. That you're probably not going to do it. Not when the bases you're trying to reach are way too far apart.
Yeah. Jake makes a good point. Pillman Jr. after Dark Side about what's SR? I'm trying to think what S. Sorry, there, Jake. I don't know what SR.
Senior Brian Pillman Sr.
About Senior. I thank you. Mark Briscoe about Jay, and then hell, even Eddie Kingston after the Players Tribune article, and now Jarrett after Owen. They always miss their opportunities. I agree, Jake.
Again, it's a weird thing. I think they think as long as you're getting the emotion of the story, we can have our cake and eat it too. But sometimes you just can't. Like Pillman Jr. was really hot coming out of the Dark Side with the Brian Pillman Sr. with the Aunt Linda. Everybody was kind of like into Aunt Linda for a minute there, and they were super rooting for him. And he just sort of ended up not going very far. He's in NXT now, doing, he's all right, but it's not like his career boomed where I think AEW could have had a chance to make a homegrown star. Now, some of that is on the performer, right? Like you can't force Pillman Jr. to happen if he's not at that level, but I also think you could have given it more of a chance.
Right. And Jeff Jarrett's not a type of talent too that you force either. He knows what he's doing. So it's like he's been there before and done it. So it's like the opportunity was there and they just did not make the most of it. Robert, you're getting a lot of good references here in the chat. Let me just say, Robert D cashing in that briefcase right ahead of Money in the Bank there. You're getting Joe Hendry references. Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in D. Felice.
We do it to be fair. There's the one guy that's like, boo, and that's okay. Like,
boo, that's probably my favorite.
Different strokes for different folks, and I think that's okay. I see in the commentary somebody's asking where does Jarrett go to make a notable difference, and that's kind of the thing I'm talking about. I don't know how many of their fans want Jeff Jarrett to make a notable difference in 2024. I love Jeff Jarrett. I think Jeff Jarrett's fantastic. I think he could have like a fun, couple months with a title if need be. Like I thought him and Lethal being tag team champions after the Acclaimed wouldn't have been the worst thing ever. Like there's a way to do it. But I think that Jeff Jarrett's probably happy getting to do anything at all. And he's shining in several different areas. He's doing great on their pre-shows. He's doing great in the ring. He's doing great behind the scenes, I'm sure, as well. So maybe he's not as interested.
Maybe not, but I don't know. And I understand what Derek's saying here. It's like, where do you go from that? But I think what you're saying too, when it comes to making him a sympathetic character and then the aggressive nature of Paige, make that happen in the finals. Make that happen in maybe just the semifinals. Like have him, like he made a mention in the promo about, hey, I want to go like, he referenced that Toby Keith song. Like I might not be the best at all the time, but I can be best this time.
I'm not as good as I was, but I can be as good once as I ever was.
Exactly. And so like play into that. Have him win the opening round. Have him go the distance, but then lose at the finals. That's what I'm saying. It's like you could have. I don't think it fulfilled his purpose. I don't think he did, Derek. I think he was not good fodder. I think they squandered it.
But to Derek's point, I think you can argue that it did. I would have gone a step further, and I would have had the Young Bucks when they said they were filling in the wild card. I would have had them say, And just like we did to Sting, our guy is going to take out Jeff Jarrett because there's no place for this old fogey in our company. That alone would have been like, okay, cool. Where now you're telling the complete story.
Yeah. It's a fair argument. It is fair. I just don't think they made the most of it, and I was personally disappointed with it. And granted, if I was saying, hey, let Jeff win the whole thing, that'd probably be a selfish thing on my end because I like Jeff so much. So I understand that, and like, what's the long term kind of thing for that? But I mean, you could still tell a great story, and I think they cut that story short. So, um, I talked about Britt Baker, but is there anything else you want to cover before we preview Money in the Bank real quick?
I just want to say the Britt Baker story was shocking
Yeah.
in that, like, to hear she had a mini stroke
Mhm.
was very, I'm glad she's doing well now. And it's amazing to think that it only took 10 months to recover from that and she's ready to go. But very emotional story. I think it's the best thing the women's division's ever done in terms of you immediately felt the palpable, like, oh, they're going to get into it. And I'll just beat the drum I beat on Wednesday. It said, this should probably be for the Women's World Championship.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think this is great.
Let me say too before we go to Money in the Bank real quick. I loved the ending to Dynamite. I thought the heel turn for MJF was really, really well done. I think everybody played their role really well, and it created this designation of, hey, you have a big time heel now at MJF again, and you're going up against your biggest baby face you have right now in Will Ospreay. So they set the table up really well for that, and Daniel Garcia was a good pivot point for that, I think. So I really liked the ending. I thought it was one of the best endings I've seen on AEW Dynamite in a while.
I like the ending in terms of execution. What I don't like is that Max literally just came back as a babyface. It
I'm
felt
okay.
like they were going to go
Yeah.
with a new direction for MJF, and it's like it's been like 6 weeks, and he's already back to, now he's gonna be the real shitbag heel, I'm sure, because he doesn't have Adam Cole to worry about. And it's fine. I think MJF versus Osprey is gonna be great at Wembley if I assume that's where they're going, but I think this was a little too soon for Max. But strong move for Danny. I think this makes Danny look great. I think people should want to see Danny come back and get his revenge. I think, Max Osprey is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for it. I think it's I'm okay with Max turning heel again so quick after return because you have a lot of it furthers the point that Swerve is going to be one of your top guys on the babyface side, and you have Osprey as one of your top guys on the babyface side. Danielson, obviously, and you have some good adversaries coming into play with Hangman kind of being again a wild card in this whole situation where he's more heel than anything else, but he still doesn't like the elite and stuff like that. So what are you going to do in that regard?
I told you he's their Sting. You don't know where he's coming from. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's a great spot for Hanger. And obviously, yeah, MJF as a heel is the best usage of MJF. I just think it was too soon after they brought him back as babyface, and it could be used as a strike against them for like constantly flip flopping. Because I know that is a criticism of people who don't like them, and this is kind of like, okay, they're just reverting back.
right. Well, guys, if you don't want to flip flop in the bedroom, let's talk about some Blue Chew. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew's unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, or so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Ooh. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive your prescription within days. The best part about it, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the US of A. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and be prepared to ship and direct to your door in a discreet package. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free for a month and see. You're going to love it. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we got a special offer for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Rumor at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Rumor to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more information and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for being a sponsor of this podcast. Thank you, Blue Chew.
We know all about it being ready at a moment's notice because, hey, you need that hot tag. I came in almost like I was hot off on Blue Chew and just like, look, here I am. That's how fast it's gonna work when you use BlueChew.com code Rumor.
Robert, your gimmick name is Bobby Aloha, and you basically did surf right in here to say.
I did.
And if you guys want to look like you're ready to surf, let's talk about Chubby's. Chubby's is one of our sponsors for this week, and we're happy to have them on board. Chubby's is a great brand. They got a good look for what you're looking for when it comes to summer looks and feels. I wore the Magnum PI kind of shirt this week, earlier this week, and you can get 20% off your order if you go to chubbyshorts.com and use /rumor. So use promo code rumor when you go there, 20% off your order. Good shorts, good merch, a lot of cool stuff. Good stuff for pajamas. Robert's saying we got
pajamas. You got like polos. You got button downs. You got shorts. You got everything you need at any moment's notice to look cool, look comfortable, maybe casual day at the office, whatever you need. Chubby's got them, and use that code rumor because you're going to need that 20% off.
20% off. It's good stuff. The shorts are great. The shirts are great. I'm a big fan of Chubby's, so you will be too. Just go to chubbyshorts.com /rumor and get that 20% off. All right. Time for the Money in the Bank preview. This will be a little bit of a speed run through, but let's hit it, Robert. Jey Uso versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade versus Chad Gable versus LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Who you got, Robert?
I think if I had to rank them, my top three would be Drew at number 1, Melo at number 2, and Gable at number 3. I don't think the other 3 have much of a shot, but I do worry that they could always say, hey, LA Knight wins and he cashes in on Logan Paul, because they unfortunately did establish that precedent. But hopefully it's just either McIntyre wins or Punk takes him out and they go with Melo to establish a new guy.
I'm going to go Jey Uso, I think. Jey Uso will be my pick. So are you picking Drew then as your number 1?
Yeah, I'm going Drew as number 1 and Melo number 2.
Okay. Main event, Jey Uso's mine. All right. Ladies' Money in the Bank match. Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Laya Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi versus Zoe Stark. Who you got for this one, Robert? Some interesting ways.
Dom, it's Tiffy time. It's Tiffy time all the time. And I think, the only other person I'd rather see win this would be Chelsea, because I think it'd be a fun moment for her. But ultimately, I think Tiffany Stratton has what it takes to become someone that you can look at and go, she won Money in the Bank and she catapulted herself to stardom. I think she has all the tools. She gets better every day. She's super young. And again, I really think this company needs to push a youth movement, like a legitimate youth movement, not a TV young as in, oh, they haven't been pushed yet, but a youth movement. I think Tiffany's perfect for that.
I agree. I think it's going to be Tiffany. I think it should be Tiffany. I think you can have a lot of fun too with the briefcase, but Barbie it out, whatever you're going to do. I think you could have a lot of fun with that too.
And just the promos, the T-shirts you can sell with, I'm not cashing in on your time, I'm cashing in on Tiffy time. Like there's money to be made with Tiffany Stratton, and this might be the beginning of catapulting her to the top.
Yeah, I like it, Robert. It's good stuff. All right. We also have Damian Priest, your World Heavyweight Champion, going up against Seth Rollins. If Damian Priest loses, he must leave the Judgment Day. If Seth Rollins loses, he can't compete for the World Heavyweight Championship again during Priest's title reign. What do you think is going to happen here, Robert?
I think this is the one match that it's difficult to predict because you need to know where it's going to place on the card. Because if they open with the men's Money in the Bank and Drew wins, then you're wondering, is this dude just going to cash in at the end of this match or in the middle of this match? Then you're thinking about Punk. Then you're thinking about Gunther's waiting at SummerSlam. I'm going to go Rollins wins. I'm going to go Rollins wins because I think Rollins and Gunther is the best match for SummerSlam. And I think Priest has more of a SummerSlam trajectory by feuding with the other members of Judgment Day than Rollins does at this point in time. They could always pivot. They could always put Rollins with somebody, but I think Rollins right now, that's an easier way to slide him into the card than Priest versus Gunther being a weird match and not knowing what to do with Rollins at SummerSlam.
You know, if you saw me on previous shows after the last pay per view, what was the last pay per view? What was it, Robert?
The last WWE pay per view was Clash of the Castle.
Thank you. So after that, I thought it had to be Damien to win this match. I like if he was going up against Rollins because you want to heat him up. You want to establish him as a champion, kind of what Ospreay did with Swerve. You want to not make him feel like a transitional champion. But I think the circumstances surrounding this all, what they've done from a storyline perspective with Judgment Day and them setting the table up for all this tension, Damien kind of being the voice of reason, also a lean towards a babyface turn. I think it sets him up completely fine to lose this title, and you can definitely circle back around and have him win that championship again or the other one at some point or another. But I think this in turn with Rollins winning, you reestablish him. He won't be on this losing streak where he's just some guy that's used to enhance the main eventers now. You put him back in the main title picture, and then he can drop it to Gunther, and then everybody kind of benefits from all this. So I'm going with Rollins too on that. I think that's a good way to look at it. Here's a good match I'm very excited for. Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion, going up against Braun Breaker. Who do you have for this one, Robert?
It should be Braun Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
It should be Braun Breaker. I've seen a lot of people suggest it'll be Sammy by DQ, or there'll be DQ finish or a schmaz, or it should just be Braun. Braun should just win here. Again, youth movement. If you're asking me just what I want, it's youth movement. Let's get some people in here who we can maybe rely on in 8 years. Like how John Cena had a great run because he was part of a youth movement. I also fear like a potential, does someone else get involved here? Do we see, could Chad Gable win the briefcase and just be so obsessed with Sami Zayn that he cashes in off of a breaker spear? You know what I mean? Like, these are the things that WWE has done with the briefcase in recent years that have made me paranoid. But I ultimately think it should be Braun Breaker. He should win his first title here, and he should continue growing from that point.
Yeah. This is a tough one because I'm thinking like if Rollins going to win the title and if, you're having all these changes happen with the Money in the Bank stuff, obviously, will they do another title change on top of it too? I do think Braun should win. So yeah, I'll just go with Braun.
Because look, Braun losing to Sammy, no skin off his nose.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I also think they really want to keep him hot. And
yeah, as they should.
Yeah.
Again, it's not every reign needs to be super duper long. I think you can just have Braun win here and keep him growing from there.
Yep. All right. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. We don't know exactly who those Bloodline members are, though, quite yet. It could be Solo, right? It could be
Solo. It could be any of the Guerrillas of Destiny, or it could be Jacob Fatu. Now, I'm sure everyone and their mother wants to see Jacob Fatu in the ring. I think the smart move here is Fatu on the outside, Solo and the Guerrillas of Destiny, because one, you can establish, Tongaloa and Tama Tonga as a tag team, and two, the only move here is Solo has to pin Cody.
Yeah, it's good.
There's no way you can tell me this dude is going to get a match at SummerSlam if someone else beats someone else in this tag match.
Yeah.
So I think Solo has to pin Cody here, and I think that sets up the SummerSlam WWE Championship match.
I think that's a good point. And I'm with you too. As much as I want to see Fatu wrestle, I think from a business standpoint, make more sense for him to be up ringside. And then, hey, you can plug SmackDown next week's Jacob Fatu makes his in-ring debut, like as one of your matches that you look forward to on Friday. So the following Friday. So yeah, I think the Bloodline wins. And I think, it furthers furthers the storyline of like the baby faces versus those heels. So, all right. What a short, convenient card, though. I think.
I mean, that's the MO now, isn't it? The five
Yeah.
match card,
Mhm.
no more, no less, but you get like, I don't know, 2 hours of ads. It feels like sometimes on these Peacock shows, and like I get it, new era, we're maximizing profit, but like the ads during the pay-per-views are a bit egregious.
Well, yes, and they're even worse too if you wait till later on to watch it. Like you don't watch it in person, like live, because they add more, and it's just too many. It's a lot to get through.
Yeah, I can't see that being the way to go.
Yeah, yeah. So my recommendation is tune in live to Money in the Bank if you have the time. If you're sick of all the fireworks, the hot dogs, and the hamburgers of Fourth of July weekend that went down. But Robert, we had some fireworks today. I think I'm becoming attracted to you, my friend.
Well, that's very sweet after, 4 days of podcasting and a lot of talking afterwards and a lot of Blue Chew plugs. It's very sweet of you. Thank you. And if you're becoming attracted to me and you want to
Hey,
keep following, you can hit the follow button at Dude Fleece on all the socials: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at Dude Fleece. You'll find me. You can find my work on Fightful.com. You can find me writing some headlines on MovieWeb for those of you that don't like obviously you all like wrestling because you're here, but if you want something else, movieweb.com, I'm there as well. You can check me out on Smart Out Moment podcast. Check me out on the Occasional Fanboys Anonymous podcast, and make sure to check out One True Sport because I do some work over there as well with Dominic D'Angelo.
that's right. That's right. He produces Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, and Greg Gagne. We did a new episode this past Thursday. We went live and we talked about, what did we talk about, Robert?
We went on Wednesday and we talked about everything from the Pro Wrestling USA a little bit. We talked about the NWA AWA collaborations.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about the Wyatt
WWE,
Six.
what they could have done, like what the promotions could have done to maybe combat WWE at the time before their takeover and stuff. So that was a big focus on.
We talk about Wyatt Six. Hey, I know some of the people on that follow ad-free shows aren't the biggest fans of the dirt sheets. And if you want to hear Magnum TA basically kick the crap out of a certain report about AEW salaries, that's on there too.
Yes.
For those of you that enjoy that stuff. So check out Straight Talk with the Boss. But you also just did a podcast with Fonzie, Bill Alfonso, and I helped out a little bit with that as well.
Yes, yeah, he does Robert does research, and we talk about Giant Gonzalez in WCW, and boy, does Fonzie have some stories. It was pretty wild stuff. He talks about one night in a hotel room. And I'll just leave it at that. But guys, you can see that at OneTrueSportTV.com. It's up there, available now for everybody. And also, I recorded live last night with Rob Van Dam.
Great time.
Independence Day, and man, what a blast that was. We covered so much ground. I told Rob after we got done recording, we covered literally like about 25 different topics last night. So tune in. It's a very bountiful episode. We cover real American wrestlers, and I get Rob's stories on some of them, some of your most famous ones that are associated with America, waving the flag and all of that stuff. So
you also get Rob's deep thoughts on whether or not smoke is good for your lungs or not, and yes. It's very interesting stuff. Rob Van Dam is a very entertaining guy.
He's great, and he gives you advice too if you're going through a breakup or a divorce or anything like that. Good way to end the show. He covered some good. It was an impromptu RVDology, so be on the lookout for that. That'll drop Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you can catch it early now if you join OneTrueSportTV.com. Just hit the join button. You can join the smallest tier and get that episode early. So take a look, reasonably priced, all that stuff. And guys, if you like what you're seeing on here, Rumor Innuendo, every Monday through Friday, we are live on ad-free shows YouTube, except on Mondays because of Jeff Jarrett. But we're also live on Working Stiff YouTube, the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube, WE Creative _ish X, Podcast Heat X, SE Scoops on X, my X account at Dominic D'Angelo, and the X account of Working Stiff as well. But very happy to have Robert D. Felice here again with me, making that hot tag, making the save. We got that heat going. I'm ready to climb a ladder and go to Money in the Bank, Robert.
I would say so, and we're going to keep that heat going because then we're going to go to Heat Wave And maybe I'll be back around at some point next week to talk about it, or maybe the real Robert will
The
be
real
here and I won't have to be. So we'll see. But in any case, I really enjoyed it, and thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And guys, hey, we'll see you next week here on River and Innuendo. But good luck in your future endeavors.